Y'all, if you're kind of like me and this is maybe one of your first few off seasons drafting, this is my fourth now. It may be a little bit stressful. You may not know exactly what you're doing fantasy wise, but over here I'm going to tell you the top 5 players I've drafted at each position, where I got them, how they're priced in now, and, really gauging the values at each position because I really do think that it's different based on the position and the teams that you're looking at. I'm here with De'Von Achane, who is my most drafted running back. I have De'Von Achane in 17.2% of my drafts. You'll see that all of my most drafted running backs will be there for 17.2% of my drafts, which is roughly going to be about 5 drafts. Again, I take my drafts a little bit slower. I like to go towards the season before I put in any real money. So a little bit slower here, but 5 drafts in, I have De'Von Achane as my most drafted running back. And what you'll see here is that my average drafted is at 13.6, so average pick 13.6, and his ADP currently is at 14, so not much above his ADP. I do think that he is the 11th best player in this fantasy season. I think that he should be a first round pick. I understand why he's not. A lot of people are skeptical about this Dolphins offense under new coaching staff with a new QB, but there was nothing special about that Dolphins offense last year. The only thing that was better was that Tua didn't run the ball, and Mike McDaniel loved De'Von Achane. So, yes, you may not have the proper set-in formula, but what we generally see with these rookie head coaches that we're going to see out of someone like Jeff Hafley running these Miami Dolphins, this is kind of a nothing year for them. They want to see what they have in Malik Willis. They want to either maximize their value in De'Von Achane before moving off him into someone younger as a part of their rebuild, or they're going to take care of De'Von Achane and, make sure that he stays in Miami towards the tail end of his career where the Dolphins are projecting themselves to be a lot better of a team. In order to do either of these things and maximize the value of De'Von Achane, he's going to be a core piece within this offense regardless. And quite frankly, there is no one else in this offense that is remotely interesting. You will hear me talk about other people in this offense later on, but again, there's one proven guy in this offense. Malik Willis isn't even a proven guy. He was a backup in Green Bay. We don't know how much he will play. We don't know the injury concerns that comes with an older mobile QB. So, taking the safe bet and realizing that the Dolphins, if they want to win a single game in this entire season, are going to need De'Von Achane. Even if they want to tank and save face, they're going to need De'Von Achane to come out there. I will also say that this is very reflective of where I've been picking within drafts. Often you'll see me picking at the 10, 11, 12th pick. I don't know why they hate me, but a lot of these concentrated players you're going to see because of that specific pick position. And again, I don't mind it. As you can see, I have him ranked at 11, but that doesn't mean I'm taking him 11th overall. I'm taking him because he's falling back down to me. So taking advantage of, what I believe in the price, but still getting him at an efficient price, because a lot of what you're going to see within these fantasy football drafts is how can you maximize the actual price of an asset that is given to you by the market versus what you are seeing independently. More here with Cam Skattebo. Cam Skattebo I have drafted again in 17.2% of these drafts, about 5 drafts, with an average ADP right now of 43, but when I had drafted him, he was going at 47 on average. Generally speaking, I'm actually not too high on Cam Skattebo. I actually have him ranked below ADP at 44. What I do see, though, is a lot of people are taking the injury concerns to another level. And I think that when it comes to running backs, unless you're talking about some of the more Iron Man names when it comes to the Bijan Robinsons, the Jahmyr Gibbs, the De'Von Achanes for one, these are the people who are going to play every single game. And you see the recklessness that comes with Cam Skattebo, but you also see what happens with a John Harbaugh, who is a stronger coach in the way that he decides to manage his players. We've already seen more injuries for the Giants, which has also led to I think the spike that has come in his ADP. But overall, I think that Cam Scadaboo is a very elite runner. He's proven in the games that he can play, he will be great. And even if he does, cause contact and you believe that his running will cause him injury, at his current price, he, on games that he's healthy, is a RB1, late RB1, early RB2. His current price is nowhere reflected of that, and that is due to his injury concerns. So taking advantage of those injury concerns, if you're able to see him fall in these drafts, he is someone that I would want to immediately pounce on, because I think he's priced in pretty much perfectly here at the 43-44 range. And if you see him falling, to the 48s, 49s, definitely take advantage there. Next up, we have TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson is actually a complete wash here for me. What I mean by that is his ADP for me is at 48. His average drafted position for me is at 48. I have him ranked 45 overall. And the main reason that I have him ranked 45 overall is originally I was taking TreVeyon over Cam Scadaboo. And recently, just the reports that have come out of Giants camp, I have seen more of a space for Cam Scadaboo to expand his game versus what you can see with TreVeyon Henderson. I will say, though, TreVeyon Henderson does have significantly more upside. He is that he's never been a bell cow in his career, but he's always put up numbers. He, as you saw multiple times in the games where he does get the touches, he rips it for 50. Again, Mike Vrabel for some reason hates him, but you have the half upside shot that Mike Vrabel may lose his reins on the offense or in this game or on this team in general. And two, just because of the situations that are going on with him, maybe he may try to save face by making sure that his team is explosive and getting highlight plays and being talked about in ways that is not, his personal controversies. Regardless to that, though, I think that as Rhamondre Stevenson gets older, this is a back that we have no reason to believe is ever going to be efficient. It worked out fine for them because the Patriots were able to coast themselves to an elite record last year, which is why they found themselves in a Super Bowl. Again, not too much on their schedule, but their schedule is now a first place schedule. It is one of the harder schedules in the league, and that is why there is a predicted recession for the Patriots in this one. And I think this predicted recession, while usually playing closer games and playing from behind is not a good thing for running backs, I think it'll be better for TreVeyon Henderson specifically because you'll have to see the more explosive back come out here, the person who has more catch pass ability and more versatility within the offense later down the stretch than what you'll see out of Rhamondre Stevenson. So you may see a lot of walk-off touchdowns or a lot of chunk yards or maybe even some checkdowns when Drake May is in trouble. Again, I don't want to take him too high because a lot of these are what ifs, but these are the kind of scenarios that we are developing with this new Patriots team. So just overall, just some things to think about there. Next, we got Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, I was drafting a lot before the shoulder mishap, and this is one that I'm gonna have to say, hey, I'll take the L on this one. Again, this is a video about my most drafted running backs. If we went further down, I have some what I would say are better values down there, but with Bucky Irving specifically, his shoulder injury has become more and more of a nuisance, something that is being talked about all over the media. I drafted him in, again, 17.2% of drafts. He's falling at a 53 ADP. I have him currently ranked 50, and I have him average drafted at 48.4. Now, to me personally, that is not a significant enough issue for me to be worried at all about what is going on with Bucky Irving in these drafts. What I mean by that is that Bucky Irving is a very talented running back, and we could tell by later in the season and the fact that this shoulder injury is still lingering that he was clearly very hurt, and there's a reason why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to split his carries throughout the season. The upside with Bucky is a lot higher than any pick at 53, and the only downside is that he may have a slower start or you may see him split some carries with Sean Tucker. Again, This is a team, this is a head coach who is on the hot seat. He's trying to maximize his opportunity, stay in Tampa somehow. And I think the only way that you can do that is really showing what you have in Bucky Irving and giving Baker Mayfield a little bit more alleviation when it comes to his offensive gameplay. We know that Baker Mayfield is a great QB, but he's not ever been so spectacular that he doesn't need the run game behind him to hold him back. And we see Baker Mayfield's best season comes when Bucky Irving is in his rookie season and playing at an elite level. So I believe that, maybe he may be more accurately priced right now. Bucky Irving is someone that I will say is a little bit scary if you're planning on drafting at this current moment. Because you do have the fact that, hey, this injury news is a little bit unclear right now. We're only getting limited information from draft camps OTAs, practice camps, all those kind of things. We're not going to get enough information to really know where to price in Bucky Irving. Again, Bucky Irving was priced in going above, Cam Scadaboo, above Travion Henderson. In this scenario, I'm okay with taking the risk of Bucky at 50, even though it is above ADP, even though I have already heavily invested into Bucky, because I'm currently in a slow draft, and you're seeing Bucky Irving falling to 68 in this puppy slow draft. And I was really hoping that he would fall to 71, 71, which is what I'm at. But again, Bucky Irving is shown that he is a great runner. He may not have been the kind of prospect that you may want to put more of an investment in, but his rookie season gives you that investment. The only thing is he going to stay healthy in this one? And I guess, we'll just have to see how that goes. What I will say is an investment that I'm kind of leaning off of is RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey is someone that I have drafted, again, 17.2% of drafts, where I have drafted him at 86 on average. He has an ADP of 84, and my personal rank for him is 88. Again, when it comes to RJ Harvey, he's kind of my, fuck it, I have to take a running back later in this 7th round, in this 8th round. I'm kind of behind here. I don't want to take one of the more handcuff style running backs. What we saw with RJ Harvey is that he is a pass catching back. If he plays in the same field with J.K. Dobbins, you may see him come out with more fantasy points than J.K. Dobbins. Of course, if you're looking at a league where you're actually setting a lineup every week, like redraft or dynasty formats, you're a little bit more worried about taking a prospect like RJ Harvey this high because you don't know where to place him at all. You don't know when you're going to start him unless there's a J.K. Dobbins injury, which, again, J.K. Dobbins is one of the more injury-prone running backs in the first place, which is why his resurgence last year before his injury was even something to consider in the first place. And don't get me wrong, I don't think RJ Harvey is this elite running back. He's shown some very clear mistakes in his game, but for fantasy purposes, he catches the ball well. He has good receiving capability. He is used a lot in those touchdown scenarios where even if you see J.K. Dobbins coming out there taking these 100-yard, 80-yard games, you'll see that somehow RJ Harvey is going to get a touchdown in those. So on those weeks where RJ Harvey may have the high touchdown volume, I don't mind taking him as a later round running back in these scenarios. Guys, how deep into this episode I'd already gotten. So I guess I'm going to just talk about running backs in this one. And my last name here is Zach Charbonnet, who is one of my worst investments within all of best ball. I don't know exactly what's happening here with Zach Charbonnet. And my thing is that, yes, Jadarian Price is the first round name, and Jadarian Price looks good in camp and all that, but Zach Charbonnet has once again been known to be their main guy. He's at least going to be splitting carries on his way back. You're getting him at the price of 160, where even as you're getting him as handcuff running backs, you're getting higher at the price of 140 maybe. Zach Charbonnet is just someone that I'm very intrigued by. on why his price is falling. And I'm willing to take an investment into Zach Charbonnet here, where I've moved him down in my rankings to 160 just to be a little bit closer to the ADP here. Because again, regardless of how I feel about a player, even maybe 154.4 is a little high. But if I felt that Zach Charbonnet deserved to go at 157, that doesn't mean that I'm going to take him at 157 every time. And we'll get into that right now. So you might be saying, so if you believe that Zach Charbonnet is this good, then why are you not taking him at that point? And same thing goes for these other players. If you have someone that you genuinely think is better, why are they priced in at these certain points? Well, the thing about how you're going to build, especially when you're building this far out, is that these are effectively how you can think about with how a stock market moves, if you're familiar with that kind of information. Certain people will be given a certain price, and based on how the consumers are, buying or selling, their prices will increase or decrease by that same metric. Now, what you really want to see is how your price is versus what others are expecting out of that price. And when you get closer towards the season, you can see the prices that you can take more of an advantage of in these kinds of situations. For instance, if Zach Charbonnet, obviously, if his injury gets worse, then we will see him slide for a good reason. But if he slides and it's not really for that great of a reason other than more people are hyped up on Jadarian Price, you may be able to buy into Zach Charbonnet at a cheaper price then. So taking the investments at the right pricing. Because if Zach Charbonnet slides to 180 to start the season and you have been taking him on average at 154, that's not a good look, because that means whoever is going at 154 is likely to be priced in. You're not going to see many of these players being priced out of their situation and everyone else on the board also being incorrectly priced. Generally speaking, you're going to have one or two qualms with the way that people are being priced on these rankings, which is why, again, you have your own individual rankings in comparison to ADP. The individual rankings in comparison to ADP need to be shifted to align with these prices. Basically, give the market a shot, test it a little bit. If you need to reach here and there to make your team a little bit better, for instance, say you have a Jadarian Price and you're playing on the injury, you may want to take Zach Charbonnet as, your safety net running back. Say you have trying to think of a good example here. But if you're taking any of these late round quarterbacks and you're waiting and you already have the QB and they have a pass catching capability, or you just know that QB is going to make that offense better, or you can have the elite handcuff method if you believe in the offense itself beyond the QB. These are all reasons to draft a little bit out of position, but again, don't go too crazy with that kind of stuff because it will bite you in the butt. Drafting efficiently is more important than drafting correctly. Yeah, that's all I have here for my running back video. I didn't really have too much else to go on here. I named my top 6, which they're all even, but if we go by where they're going in drafts, Devon Achane, Cam Scatterbo, Travion Henderson, Bucky Irving, RG Harvey, and Zach Charbonnet. Out of these guys, who do I really think is a player that I'm very happy with this investment in? I'm going to say Devon Achane. I'm very happy with my investments. Cam Scatterbo, obviously, because I'm buying him at a lower price than he is currently going at, and even a lower price than I believe he should be going at. Travion Henderson, again, even though his ADP and his average drafted are the same for me, I'm happy with him because I believe his price could be a lot higher than where I am getting him at. Bucky Irving is an investment that I'm not too happy about, but I'm also not the most upset about just because I believe in that prospect's potential. RJ Harvey is kind of my default running back that I mentioned earlier, but in these drafts, I'm perfectly okay with his position. I will like to take him a little bit later in drafts if that's possible, but for now, I don't mind how he's going. and then Zach Charbonnet, who may be my biggest swing and a miss in this entire situation, but you can't win them all. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you learned something for your fantasy drafts. I'm drafting on Underdog. I try to do these late night streams. Again, I'm PST based. I know that's not very fortunate for people who actually may be interested, but it's the best I can do with my work schedule. So late night streams, drafting, on nights that there aren't NBA finals or other videos that I'm putting out, or just frankly getting busy. I try to get into 1 or 2 drafts every night, especially if we get these cheaper drafts out there. Like recently we had the $2 draft come out, so that was something where I was able to get into multiple drafts in the same night. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one.